Welcome to 2021, guys. We made it. And you know what? Things really haven't gotten all that better. Especially with GPUs and stuff. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, hello and welcome to A Slice of Pie, the semi-weekly news show that we do on this channel. And this week is CES week, and it's real weird. So let's roll the intro and talk about that. CES was this week, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a very different CES. Every single company that would normally be showing their products at CES are doing digital events, and it has definitely led to some pretty interesting and weird situations that have come out of it. Because there's no physical presence in Las Vegas this year, many of these companies have actually shipped their products to tech reviewers, YouTubers, and website holders alike, all to, well, honestly get the word out about their new products. And because of that, we really have a weird sense of, I guess, distorted normalcy with all of this. And it's very interesting to see, because last year, CES, we did a video on it and it was still in Vegas, and like all the tech YouTubers went there. And this year, it is a sign of the times, to be completely honest. So yeah, that is happening right now, and there are going to be some weird and unusual stories, but we're going to kind of gloss over them because we've got so many big ones to talk about coming up, or, well, yeah, now. GPU shortages are actually getting worse. If you didn't think they could get worse, try buying a 580 right now. Yeah, an RX 580. You can't buy them. This is actually truly troubling. I went to buy a GPU this week because I wanted to do a video talking about AMD drivers in 2021, and I needed to install an AMD GPU into my test system in order to actually test this thoroughly. And I really wanted to get one that was like known to be a problem. And from you guys, I have found out that the 5700 XT, the 5600 XT, and the 590 are the biggest problem cards. Now, we already took a look at the 5700, but I really haven't had an opportunity to really look at a 5600 XT or the 590. In fact, actually, I owned a 580, but I never owned the overclocked variant, which is the 590. So honestly, it would be interesting to take a look at, and I thought I would be able to do so. I walked into Best Buy only to find them completely empty. And then I went on Newegg and found you can't even buy them. Like, how insane is it that a GPU that released years ago is out of stock right now? It's absolutely mad. So yeah, GPU shortages are pretty bad right now, and it's not looking great. Granted, we did see a boom in cryptocurrency and then a sudden crash, which should hopefully help our situation a little bit. The volatility of cryptocurrency should dissuade some of the crypto miners, but it's not going to dissuade the scalpers who are going to still look at this as an opportunity to scalp these cards. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation for us, and patience is the only solution. But there is a silver lining in all of this. This might actually be what gets the 6700 and the 6700 XT released. AMD is reportedly working on the card, and they didn't quite have it ready for CES this year. But if there are no 5700 XTs in stock and their stock of 5700 XTs are sold out, now is a good time for them to actually announce and launch the 6700 XT. In fact, actually, I would say now is the perfect time to announce and launch it. And hopefully the way that they're using the dies that don't work for the 68 or the 6800 XT could work for the 5700 and the 5700 XT to make them, well, actually, to market. But that is just pie in the sky dreaming at this point. AMD also did announce at CES Epyc Generation 3, which means we're going to now have new AMD CPUs in the server market. Now, Epyc has been, well, epic in the CPU market in that specific section, and usually features that are featured in Epyc end up on Threadripper and then eventually on Ryzen. So it's kind of a linear flow back to the consumers. And honestly, from what they're talking about, these things are pretty impressive. That being said, we do have a prosumer processor from AMD actually coming out shortly. Threadripper Pro processors and motherboards will be hitting the market shortly. For a while, they were exclusive to a couple of machines. I think they were the Think machines. So that's, is that Lenovo? Either way, they were exclusive for a little while, and now they're gonna finally actually make it to mainstream, which is nice because, well, from what I understand, workstation CPUs are their own kind of beast. That being said, they are kind of in a weird position between, you know, Threadripper and Epyc. They do have more PCIe lanes and they do have more memory support, so I guess there are gonna be use cases for those kinds of CPUs. Just, I currently don't see one for me. That being said, they are really expensive. So yeah, I'm not going to buy one. AMD was actually featured in a lot of laptops this year at CES as well. Both ASUS and ACER have released almost entirely AMD lineup laptops, which is nuts because in years prior, it's been nothing but Intel. This year, seeing AMD in everything is just insane. And that's also to go with their brand new laptop processor, which it looks pretty good, not gonna lie. And honestly, I'm excited to actually see that space kind of shift. The laptop space has been getting really expensive, and it has been for years. So if it actually shifts in a direction where it's more affordable and you get a lot more power, I am all for that. And then we also have something really interesting coming out for servers and workstations, a fanless 5700 XT. Now, I did not think it would be possible to cool this thing fanlessly, but this company thinks it can be. And you know what? Good luck. It's not gonna be a gaming card. It's probably gonna be downclocked and used mostly for compute purposes, but I guess AMD, just to clear out stocks, sold a bunch of these cards to this company, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna make this a workstation card. And they're like, yeah, you do you. You do you. AMD announced that they were going to stop making the reference design GPU coolers for the 6800 and 6800 XT, and then revoked that and said that they were definitely going to be making them. Thanks to fan outcry and honestly, like, just a good argument about, you know, GPU water blocks being compatible with everything. We actually saw AMD decide that they were going to indefinitely continue making the coolers for the reference design PCBs, which is actually kind of awesome. And to be completely honest, I look for reference designs when I water cool because they're the ones that I know will work, and there are just so many cool water blocks for the reference design for AMD right now. So hopefully this will mean eventually I will have one in my hands. We're gonna take a quick break from CPUs and GPUs and actually talk about a case that I did not expect to like so much. Corsair is releasing the 500D series, the 500D Airflow, and the 500X. And I'm gonna be completely real with you guys, I kinda like it. I have not been that interested in Corsair cases in recent years, and this is the first one I'm looking at going, you know, I actually kind of like the look of that case. In fact, I actually really want to put dark matter in the 500D Airflow. So yeah, you might actually see a Corsair case video on this channel. And it's not that I don't like Corsair, it's actually that their cases have been kind of boring over the years. I mean, I have an Obsidian that I still, or actually I think that might be a Carbrite. I have a Corsair case that we've featured on the channel like twice now. Ancient case, but like the design language hasn't changed very much from that case to the new stuff until now. Like now they're doing some cool stuff. It's got a side intake for both radiators and fans, which I love. I personally love that style. It looks like it has a ton of room for water cooling. So all around, just yes, I want it. And I can't wait to get my hands on it because it's a pretty cool looking case. Let's actually talk about Nvidia a little bit. Nvidia did actually announce stuff at CES. They announced their brand new laptop GPUs, and the rumors were true about them. They're actually kind of meh. When we got the GPUs for the actual desktop, it was like, oh my God, look at all this extra performance. And this one's just, it's underwhelming in comparison. And I think that's the big problem with it. A lot of people are just like, okay, Nvidia. They are Max-Q variants. They are cut down and they're not really going to give the same performance that you would get on a desktop. But we kind of know that because it's always a balancing act between power and performance, and we know that the 3000 series is a bit more power hungry, so it would only make sense that they would have to cut it down in order to make it work for laptops. Nvidia is also going to be gearing up for the 3060, the cheaper cut down version of the 3060 Ti, and hopefully, you know, people can buy it. There was a little rumor floating around that the 3080 Ti is actually being canned because they can't even make enough 3080s to meet demand, and they would experience quite a bit of backlash. And it looks like Nvidia might be pulling an AMD. This time, they're kind of the good guys. Resizable bar support is being added to all of the Nvidia GPUs and on all platforms, meaning it is not platform exclusive like AMD's Smart Access Memory. So, honestly, in a weird case, NVIDIA's GPUs are kind of getting a free power boost. That being said, I do believe it's exclusive to the 3000 series, which you can't buy anyway. But honestly, like, it kind of incentivizes the purchase of an NVIDIA GPU over an AMD GPU if you're running anything outside of the 5000 series processors for AMD, which means that most likely we're going to see Smart Access Memory trickle down into the older CPU generations because, well, AMD doesn't want to be the bad guy. And I think as long as they can actually get it to work, they're going to make it work. Intel Rocket Lake was announced and is coming and could be competitive. I say could be in like the biggest of air quotes on this one. And there's a good reason for it. And it's mainly because Intel really didn't show us much. When AMD announced their new processors, they gave us like 20 or so odd games, comparing them between Intel and AMD, and like even showing ones where they lost. Intel showed us like 5 games, all of them ahead of AMD by like a couple of percentage points. And while I would say that that could be an indicator that it's better, the fact that the scope is so limited does kind of raise some skepticism. You know, I'd be skeptical if AMD did it too, if NVIDIA did it. Like, if any of these companies did this, I would be like, is it though? Or is it only good in those 5 games that you might have been better developed for? Like, I'm sorry, Intel, but like, I take it with a grain of salt. That being said, if it is competitive, it is good because competition is good in the CPU market. And if you guys can somehow be cheaper than AMD, that's actually a good thing. Like, I would totally look forward to that. It is kind of amazing that I missed this, but I think it's because I've never really paid too much attention to VR until I got a VR headset sitting right there. That is an Oculus Rift S, and unfortunately it is being discontinued this year, and I believe it's going to be discontinued in the spring, which is kind of sad because I have both the Rift S and the Quest, and I prefer the Rift S for PC VR, and honestly, like, that's the only way I've been playing, to be completely honest. So yeah, if you really want a good VR headset that you won't be able to buy shortly, I think they're on sale $100 off, making them the same cost as the Quest, but they may be sold out now because unfortunately, like, everybody's been getting into VR all of a sudden. Which I guess a side note and story, VR has exploded this year, like exploded. We're talking like Steam saw the largest increase in VR users it has ever seen. And those include Oculus Quest and Oculus Rifts. And it is a little weird that the Rift line is completely dying, because that's really what, you know, Oculus was kind of like based out of. Like, the first Oculus headset you could buy was the Rift, or the dev kits, but still the Rift was that line. And so it's really weird to see it kind of go. And I have a lot more to say on that, and I'll do that in a separate video all about that. But it's definitely interesting. It's kind of the ending of an era. And yeah, I just figured I'd get that information out there for you guys in case you're wondering about VR, want VR. Now is the best time to get that kind of a headset. And now let's end with a couple of fun stories, actually. Razer has always done crazy stuff for CES, like always done crazy stuff for CES. And this year is no exception. They brought two concepts, one of which is actually practical and the other of which is not. So the first one is actually a reusable face mask, which is incredibly sensible of them. It is a transparent N95 respirator type mask with RGB lighting on the cup and face portion to actually illuminate your face to make it easier to read your lips. This is actually something that people who are hearing impaired do, and we never really noticed because it's not something you think about. And it's actually incredible that Razer actually designed these masks with that intention in mind. They also do have a microphone and speaker system in place so that you don't actually muffle your speech when speaking. And the charging case has a UV light built into it to help disinfect the mask. Like, everything about these is really well thought out. And honestly, I kind of want to see this come to market. I'd be okay with paying a not so insignificant amount of money to have a mask that I could use on the daily like this and just work. Like, it's actually a great idea. Razer, make it. Make this one. The other one, you might want to go back to the drawing board. And that is Project Brooklyn. Now, what is Project Brooklyn? Well, you've seen those gaming thrones that you like recline in, and your keyboard, your mouse, and your monitors come down. Razer's like, that's not cool enough. We're gonna make a rollout display that comes out and rolls out in front of you and you can see through it, and then there's like a dimension bending tray that comes out of your 4D armrest that you can put your keyboard and mouse on. And I'm just sitting here going, Razer, this isn't a good solution. There are several flaws with this. One, those rollout displays, although they exist, are extremely expensive, and transparent displays are even worse. A transparent rolling display would be a nightmare. Not to mention, when you look at the design of this, there is no way this thing's maintaining a curve unless you add a middle support piece. So it's already flawed from the design phase right there. Also, the 4D armrest coming together to create a tray for your keyboard and mouse. There are two flaws with that. One, you're never going to get a solid surface that will work that way. And two, where is your keyboard and mouse before it's on the tray? Because when these things are released, these Halo products that are thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Like the ACER one, they compensate for every little aspect, right? And this just seems like an oversight in the design. Like, is your keyboard like hanging from the side of the chair? Is your keyboard, where is your keyboard in this? Like, it's a cool idea. But if you were going to make it practical, remove the rolling displays as the feature that sells it. Maybe instead a powerful arm that does come up in that same fashion that holds out maybe say a giant curved display. Those exist. That is more traditionally done and gets stored on the back of the PC. And maybe in order to deal with your 4D armrest issue, maybe having it so that the tray swivels out so that the keyboard and mouse are always on it to begin with, and maybe even magnetize it so it's just like the keyboard and mouse that you have for playing consoles on the PC. maybe that design will work. Honestly, I don't think Brooklyn is ever really going to happen. I think Brooklyn was just Razer being Razer. All right, that's gonna be it for us today. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, you can comment, you can subscribe. I do content like this all the time, and I do this show every other week. Hopefully we've got some content coming in a more steady fashion. Getting a hold of hardware has been difficult this year, but I do have something cool coming. I think it's gonna take 2 weeks to get here, but I do have something really cool coming. If you do wanna see what we've already did for the year, I did actually talk about a Raspberry Pi case made by Cooler Master, which is actually really cool. Either way, I've got a lot of projects in the works. I've got some VR content coming this year. 3 PC builds, hopefully. And yeah, so get subscribed, leave a like. I suck at any videos. Wolfie out.